All right, welcome to the podcast playground where podcasters come to play. Today we got the bottom of the bottom. What's up, fellas? What's up?
Hey, shit, it's almost the weekend. Shit, I'm happy.
Absolutely, man.
Shit, what's
Boy, you
up? Shit,
couldn't
it's almost the weekend.
look. You couldn't have said that better, boy. You couldn't have
Yeah.
said that better because right now I'm like, shit. Put me in, coach.
That's it.
Shit.
I always say hustling and surviving like the Good Times theme song.
Yeah.
Why you shooking and a jiving?
There you go.
Man. Yeah. But how you doing? We
I'm
appreciate you
doing
inviting
pretty
us.
good.
Uh,
Like I said, I'm glad to have you fellas on. Thank you for joining. Shout out to Nicole from Diva the Round Table. Thank you for the connect. Without you, this would not be possible. So thank you, and also the other ladies at Diva the Round Table. I'll be getting at y'all.
Absolutely.
Holla.
Love that group. Love what Nicole got going on.
Oh yeah, they
Uh
doing it over there. They
yeah,
doing it.
man.
I gotta have them on here. So that way, we get on here, do a little powwow, try to do all us, you know, bottom of the bottle, diva the round table. Shoot, I'll even invite the other two groups, two sailors and a drink, and endless topics.
oh,
That
that's
way,
what's
I
up.
know it's gonna be a good time because endless topics. One of the guys on there, he love making up characters.
Okay.
The first time he
It
joined, he
sounds like a
called
good
himself being
time.
a black Chinaman.
Damn.
Oh, okay. Well, that's
Yeah,
interesting.
I know.
I need to see it in action to see how I really feel about it. But I'm down for anything.
Yeah, see, I have to be because he keeps you on your toes because you never know what character he gonna come up with because he come up with some wild stuff at the spare of the moment.
Oh, that's what's
That's all
up.
right.
So
Yeah, that's
he
what's
keeps
up.
things fresh, flowing, and moving. And his partner, he's like the surgical knife of the situation. He's coming in. Today's stats are XYZ, and he got his comedy run too. And the both together, they magic. They work well.
Mm.
And like I said, I
Yeah,
watched the Divas Roundtable. I watched their last podcast where they had a gentleman on there that was a mechanic.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So they do a lot of inspiring things with up and
for
coming
sure.
people.
For sure.
And then I was
Yeah.
watching y'all guys' podcast. Let me tell you. I was watching y'all guys' podcast and I was like, yeah, you know what I'm saying.
I don't know what you're saying, because we be on some different stuff.
Y'all do.
So
So you know what I'm
we
saying.
I liken it to, being able to have a conversation with anybody. Either I'm listening for you to teach me something, or I may be able to teach you something. And we definitely about to laugh.
Yeah, definitely.
So
Yeah,
that's the
and
way
that
I
makes it
look at it.
fun.
Yeah, we try to do like we do our shows every Wednesday at 8:35 and Fridays at 9:35 because it's just like to break the cycle. So that's why our Wednesday shows are called Hump Day Happy Hour Tapping. We close it to the weekend. Um, whatever stress you got about the politics or current events or money problems, like we do touch on that stuff, but you are guaranteed to laugh several times within every episode because you never know probably what I'm gonna say. Even though my brother says some shit, his shit is like more stern, like "shut the fuck up, you stupid as shit," and mine is, you know, I don't know. I just gotta be in my
Don't get any
moment. But
people that might run across as a bad impression of me. Now, don't get it twisted. I do not cut a lot of corners.
yeah,
But yeah, Stern just
You
seemed.
you said you said I'm a straight shooter, and ain't nothing wrong with that because that's what I tell them at work. I was like, look, I'd rather tell you the truth now and hurt your feelings than to have to remember the lie I got to tell you.
Right.
Don't
I
ask
don't
questions
want
if
you
you
to
don't want the
have to
truth.
guess if I'm gonna be. If you wondering if I'm gonna be different when you see me outside of this internet life. Uh, yeah, that
and
every
that's what
day.
and that's one thing about podcasting people don't understand as far as more so the host than the guest is if you fake it, you're not a celebrity. You are somebody's gonna catch you at a gas station. Somebody gonna catch you at a playground. It's not the same thing as celebrity with
Grocery store.
security. People will test who you are on camera or test whatever you said on camera. Like a lot of times I tell my brother, like, damn, I might have fucked that up, or I might have misquoted that. But like I said, I'll be watching Breakfast Club and all this other stuff, and they do it too. So that gives me a little bit of comfort. But when you kind of disrespect people on camera, as far as the podcast, people will catch you in the street. And the crazy thing is, you're not even looking for them to catch you in the street.
Well, I mean,
Right.
the key is if you're doing, let's say you're doing your podcast, right? And you're doing it with a person that you thought they was gonna be like a good little fit, and you thought they was gonna fit the group, they was gonna stick on topic, or even if they didn't stick on topic, way they took the situation was gonna be fluent.
Yeah.
But instead, you just like, we all dumb as hell for having listened to you.
Right. I don't think I don't think we've had that situation. We've definitely had the runaway guest. We've definitely had the oh, you think this is your show guest.
Yeah.
We've had the hey man, you had a personality before we went live
Yeah.
guest. We but I don't think I've ever had anybody like be super belligerent where I was like, oh no, we got to get him out of here.
Nah, you did. We did. We did.
Did we
We
get him
did.
out of there?
No, what we did was we conducted ourselves, but you can see it got kind of testy on the back end.
Oh yeah,
It
yeah,
got kind of testy on the back end,
yeah.
and then I had people reach out to me and be like, "Y'all good?" And I'm like, "Man, we straight." It's just, and they even said like, how that energy flip? I was like, man, I don't know how that energy flip, but we gonna be who we are. That's why I said we don't look for viral moments. We don't look for the clicks and all that. We just trying to have a conversation. Don't We're not trying to get you crossed up or get you caught up or none of that shit. But some people get on podcasts, they want to make a name for themselves, but that shit don't make you who you are. Because people gonna find out the truth later on.
Well, I mean, if you came on here to get an identity, then you never had one to begin with. So
There you go.
it's not like if you jumped on the internet talking about I'm finna be somebody, you was already nobody.
Yeah, yeah,
In this podcast space, I feel like for the people that's on the fence about whether you want to do it, figure out what you want to do first. Because like you was talking about, watching the numbers and is my podcast engaging? Am I getting the growth that I want? Um, the answer is probably no. You feel me? Unless you got a special niche, unless you got a special thing that you do, be very deliberate about what you're gonna build your podcast around so that whether the numbers come or not, you still satisfied with what you're doing. You know what I'm saying? If you just in it for the fame, you probably ain't gonna make it past show 3.
And you
That's
ain't
what I'm
never
gonna say.
lied. You ain't never lied because at at the point you start one, if you start one, because you always got the background people that talk behind you. That's in the background. What I would have did, but don't ever do it.
Hmm.
Those podcasters,
yeah.
the ones who say I can have a podcast if I wanted to, but don't. They'll tell you how to run your podcast. Ain't never been on a podcast,
Right.
and then they look and say, "Well, your numbers ain't high. What numbers you put up?"
Yeah.
They don't want to play the match for match game because they have no game. They relied on putting you down instead of building you up.
And not only that, what people also don't realize when it comes to the podcast, and it can be the guest or the host, is the view count. If you don't share it, nobody's there to watch it. We've had a guest ask about the view count, like, I thought it would have been more views than that. Well, who did you share with? Like, who did you share with? If if we got 20 people that have never heard of you and they watch, that's 20 people that didn't know you. So where's all the people you got? If you got 5,000 followers on your Facebook or Instagram or TikTok, where are your people at to watch this?
Well, the thing is when they think that they're the ones that are running the podcast, although they're not on the podcast, but they're telling you that the one podcast that they did go on
Yeah.
you know, oh, it was a hit. And then, they follow up, well, I had 7 viewers. Well, I don't know how 7 equated to being a hit, but if that's your number for that level, then you're right, you are a hit. I'm not gonna take it down. Look, you a superstar.
Yeah, yeah. And then what did you do on that one that you think you're supposed to have, like the content you put out? You know, a lot of times you can look at the numbers, but then if you go look at the view time, you might have 500 views, but then when you look at the length in which people watch, that shit might be 2 minutes and 37 seconds. But people don't look at it like that. They just look at the view count as the final thing. But within that 15 to an hour that you want a podcast, what kind of content did you put out? Like you already didn't share it to get your people on and watch it, and then the content you put out there, was it really worth it? Is it the host's fault that you had a piss poor performance, or is it your fault that you had a piss poor performance? That's why me and my brother call it a conversation, because a conversation really doesn't have a performance level.
Yep.
So that's why I like saying it. And I hear Shannon Sharp call it a conversation. I'm gonna say we've been calling a conversation because I've been saying it before I even saw Shannon Sharp show. But when you think about a conversation, there is no levels to the conversation. It might be levels to the intelligence of the conversation, but a conversation can be deep and have no destination. We've had shows like that. We've talked about, my brother get on me. We talked about midgets. My brother think we be
Little
we be
people,
talking
dog.
about,
We don't,
but it's a conversation. Like you can't hold me to the standard of a conversation if you see there's no ill intent.
and it's also about vibing. You know what I'm saying? Like I do, we do a podcast with each other. This is my brother. We 5 years apart. We've been together for 30 plus years. You know what I'm saying? We come from the same mother, the same father. For us, like if we don't have a guest, we brothers. So
Yeah,
a conversation is gonna be had no matter what. You feel me? Um, I take pride in when we bring people on. We try to ask them what they want to do, whether they got their own podcast, whatever business, if they got their own business, if they a nonprofit, if they're doing something for the community, because we do always try to keep it community based. Is we bring them on to give them the platform to talk about their thing, and we just end up having a conversation. Then by the end, we like, man, we were supposed to. Man, I don't care nothing about that. I'll,
yeah,
I'll talk
yeah,
about my business next time. Cause bring me back and I'll talk about it then.
Yeah, we do it
So
on the second round.
there
yeah,
you go. So providing that kind of energy to people is a big lift. You know what I'm saying? Now, like I said, if you got a community center, if you got a program for young adults, if you got a food truck and you really want to come on and talk about that, we will talk about that. Cause I had, man, the best, and we've done so many episodes because you'll look at our numbers and be like, how? But we've had horse trainers. We had the first Native American women's basketball player in the WNBA. Like the reach is vast
and that
because
segment
we
was
all
horrible.
have interest. Yeah,
That
we
segment was
have
horrible.
interests
Yeah,
outside of typical black.
Well, and that's
We
the
ain't
key.
having no episodes on, which Forgiatos to put on the car. You know what I'm saying? We not having I'm a marijuana enthusiast. We don't have that many conversations about marijuana. You know what I'm saying? We do talk about that fucker on Capitol Hill.
yeah,
We do talk about the need for black people to invest in themselves and get healthy and things like
And
that
work together.
yeah,
and work together. We do talk about what were the best villains in movies over the last 20, 30 years. So it's
Oh, very
just
good.
do find if you're gonna do a podcast, be authentic to yourself. It's gonna be easier if you are really interested in what you're talking about.
Yeah, I think if you bring to the table uh the topics and stuff that you can flow with, then I think you have a good time. And I'm with you guys. When when the guys at these podcasts that I work on, I produce, when we're going through those, in the beginning, I used to be like, hey, let's uh let's not alienate folks right now. We kind of need the viewers. But then I started thinking, I was like, you know what? Just be yourselves.
Yeah.
Just do yourself, be yourself. And if they like it, they like it. I mean, I come from a military family and shit, they cussed all the damn time.
All
Mm.
the time. All the
Everything
I'm
time.
the
was do
best
you
cusser, cuz. My
hey,
mama don't cuss, but I think she made me the best cusser.
my dad tried not to cuss, but it always came out like a cuss word anyway. Shit. Sound like a sneeze.
Right.
But you know,
Got to be more careful.
but
Yeah, got to
what's
be.
crazy about our evolution was our very first episode was a drunken versus. And that's what we said. We said we're gonna do a drinking podcast. We're gonna do this, this, and this. And if you look at where we first started, where we at, you can see the evolution, and you can see the commitment. You can see the consistency, but you can see it's still the same two people. Like we didn't change who we are. We went we showed more of who we are. If that makes sense, we didn't change who we are. We just gave more of who we are because, like I said, our first episode was drunk versus. We just going back and forth about music. Um, we we did get drunk, but if you
Yeah.
look at the quality of music that we played, even though YouTube get kind of with that copywritten, YouTube, Facebook funny about that copywritten, which I don't understand because DJs do it all the time. But
I
if you
know.
go back and look at that first episode, you can say, "Oh, these dudes, they got some knowledge in music," and you could tell that these dudes have a good time. And then we presented, and we just started thinking about let's get outside the box. And when we got outside the box, that's when I started telling my brother, like, I do hashtag networking as a superpower. Because once we started doing that, man, it was put like we try to take care of home first. When I say take care of home first, is we broke it down to people that we actually went to school with and whatever they got going on. We broke it down to people in our city that we grew up with. We broke it down to people in the city in Columbia, South Carolina. We broke it down to the state. And then we started branching off to people in California, people in New York, people in uh,
Chicago, Baltimore,
Chicago, Arkansas, Florida,
So
Georgia,
y'all were on the
Tennessee,
move.
Texas.
Tennessee, Texas, North Carolina, Jersey. Uh, Man, I think shit, we might have got about 15, 16 different states.
Let me ask you a question.
Go
You
for it.
know, with as far as like when you are talking to people, because we talk to people all the time, and yeah, man, you still do your little podcast. The people
I
that
love that
talk to
part.
you, the people that talk to you, and they be like, man, I'm gonna do a podcast. I can do a podcast. Like, what do you think stops them from doing it?
What I think stops them from doing it, you have those who want to be like Mike, but can't for self reasons. It's not the fact that they just can't do it because it'll be the same person that'll hold their cell phone up and take a selfie
Yeah,
and post it, or hold their cell phone up and record somebody else and post it. But yet they won't turn it to themselves and do it. But they'll do a live, a 5 minute
yeah,
live or less. They'll do that. But a podcast, they don't want to touch it because they think it's too expensive. Although they do it with their phone now, it's too expensive and it's too time consuming because when they realize that to do this, you got to be dedicated. Like you guys said, your show comes out every Wednesday.
yeah.
For four
Whether it's
years, bro.
you're right, whether it's pre-recorded, whether it's
No, all
live.
our shit live. All ours live.
Oh, well, see, that's even better because kudos, guys. Because let me tell you, last weekend, shit,
Yeah,
I was on the grill.
Right. But you know what? That's still the footage. You
yeah,
don't even have to move the camera.
yeah,
And that's one of the things that I'm learning, man, is you trying to corner the market on what content is gonna blow you up. You just don't have a clue.
You
You can
don't.
study it. You can try to write it down. You can try to construct it. It's gonna be random, and you don't know if you dropping your beer next to the grill is gonna be the one to be the million video. You know what I'm saying? Now, saying that we do a live show is not necessarily a flex because we could use some editing. Don't,
They
Well,
could.
I
like,
mean,
don't get it twisted.
well, here's
It
the
is
thing.
not, yeah, it's not perfect every time.
Oh
We
Well, that's
don't
the
yeah,
even
key
feel
word
like that.
because it's live, and
yeah,
when it's live, the only thing perfect about being live is you're live. What
Right.
happens happens because when you do pre-lives where it was live, but now you done went back, you done made it all pretty, and you done put it out there in a package. When you do that, yeah, it's nice. I ain't gonna lie. Sometimes it takes 6, 7 hours to do one of those to go through the editing process. I mean, it was to the point where I was doing green screen backgrounds, I was doing intros, moving logos, doing all that. That stuff takes time.
For
But
sure.
now you take it like this, you know, this is live. If you fuck up,
yeah. You fuck up, you fuck up.
yeah, and then
Period.
you keep walking right on past it. It's the ability to not overthink what you did and be able to keep going beyond that and not sit there and dwell over, okay, well, 5 minutes ago I didn't I forgot to ask them what their name is, introduce
Yeah,
your name, how long your show been running. Look, it's live, things happen in live, and that's kind of how it works.
Because he said that, I'm Jaywalking the third. That's my brother Carolina Dirt. We got a podcast. It's called a BOTB Live Show. That's B like Bravo, O like Oscar, T like Tango, B like Bravo, Live, LIVE show, SHOW, all together on YouTube. Um, yeah, and we do a show every Wednesday at 8:35 Eastern Standard Time. And we invite people to the conversation.
oh
But if
yeah.
you don't show up or you don't want to contribute to the conversation, guess what? I'm gonna talk to my brother anyway.
And that's another thing. So when we do it, we include the comment section. That's another way you know how live, how much freestyle we do. We include, like, if you got comments, we add them shits to the conversation to let you
What
know.
up, chat?
We had we started February 2021. It's May 2025. We got over 400 shows, and that's not including being on other people's podcasts.
And see, that just goes to show that one, you guys don't give up. Well, I mean,
Yeah,
that's a big part because even talking to, like I was telling you earlier, my last guest was a preacher, and he is cooler than a fan.
yeah,
And he was talking about the power of persistence and being able to keep going even when you think no one's listening. He was saying, keep going. He was like, if you scared to podcast, get in your car with your phone by yourself and just record yourself talking to the phone. Because you can start with any form, any fashion, any medium. You don't need StreamYard to start. They got Facebook Live. They have YouTube Live. They have TikTok Live. They have Instagram Live. You can choose any platform you want. You just have to be willing to do it.
For sure. So to me, I feel like that's the thing that stops most people. Because I had to make when we first started, I had to ask myself, okay, you about to put yourself out there in the ether for anybody to see. So if your nose is big, if you think you ugly, like it's a whole bunch of things
you can tell
psychologically and
all that shit
mentally.
was what he thought about. His
No,
nose big and he
just
ugly.
and I'm just being serious. It's like, what are these people gonna say, and how am I gonna react to the things that these people say? And then I realized I didn't. I'm not gonna curse. I
Shit.
didn't care though. You feel me? You know what I'm saying? So I think for most people, that's what it really is. Because okay, yeah, you're gonna do a podcast, you're gonna do it in your house. You about to expose the fact that the car that you drive is the best thing about your life.
Yeah.
You feel me? So
If it's
I
yours.
if it's yours. So to me, it's the mental and emotional part of exposing yourself. I'm cool, cuz I got enough people that love me where guess what? Ain't no stranger about to hurt my feelings. And I feel like that's where you got to get to before you decide you're going to be a public persona. You know, there may be a day where nobody watches your content, but there also may be the day where the booger hanging out your nose that 10,000 people tune in.
Yeah. I
Yeah, and
want.
I agree with you 100% because if how they say this isn't for the timid,
Yeah,
For
it's
sure.
not.
because this is definitely not for the timid. Because if you are stuck on one how you look and you worry about what other people think about how you look, then you already set up for failure because the only person's opinion about how you look should be yours.
That-
Anybody that got over 10,000 followers, they done had some hate speech. They done had some trolling, like because it's always gonna be one, and that's why I will feel like we have made it when I have to get on somebody's ass a couple times. I ain't had to get on nobody's ass yet. You know what I'm saying? So to me, it ain't about no money. It ain't about no number of streams. As soon as I get a verified hater and I curse their ass out a couple times, I've done my job.
You like I made it.
yeah.
You
That's
like
it.
I'm here,
For sure,
y'all.
for sure.
I
Jason.
got my hater. Oh, by the way, everybody meet Tim. That's my hater. I made it.
What up, Tim?
Fuck you, Tim. You doing
Oh,
me?
Yeah,
bell
you
pepper
know.
nose having ass.
But Jason,
Well,
I want.
they
Oh, my
go
bad. Go
ahead.
ahead.
I
Well, I
was gonna
want
say
to
they
ask you two.
always
Oh
go
shit,
ahead.
my bad. I got a habit of doing it. I got two questions. So my two
Go for it.
questions is first, because a lot of people think it's hard to come up with a name. You know, some people put the blame on them, like I don't know what to call it. And the second one is how do you? What's a good number of hosts? Because I'll say people like, man, I can't do it by myself, or they'll have five people doing a podcast, and if y'all are already not talkers, like you got to delete the dead space.
The more people you got and the less talking that's be. See, I feel like no, go ahead. Go ahead. Give your answer. I'm sorry.
I'm gonna go off the premise of it really depends on chemistry. Chemistry is everything because you could have 10 people and the room be dead silent.
Yep.
Mm,
You can have two people and the room be full of joy, cheer, great conversation. You can have four people and it's like three people is dragging that fourth person.
Yep. Yep.
So it really depends on the dynamics of the group. Now you could have that person that just likes to stir up the pot, but then you can have that person who comes back in with rhyme and reason, be like, "But you said," and on this day in history,
right.
they Mr. Factual or Miss Factual, you got that person, and then you put the person that likes to stir it up with the factual person. Now they're going at it, and the other two people looking like we can't even talk.
Yeah.
Right.
So I mean, I don't think there is a perfect number because it plays off chemistry. I mean, when I do conferences at work, sometimes it's two people on the stage, sometimes it's 12 people on the stage. 12 people is just as awkward as two.
Yeah.
Can be.
And then you got one person on stage that won't shut the hell up. And next thing you know, you're leaving the graduation at 10:30 at night.
But you know that thing about the thing about the shut up. So me and my brother, and I tell people all the time, there's sometimes me and my brother don't even talk until the show, like record. And we haven't talked since the last show. But like you say, when you say chemistry and understanding and basically understand people's roles, there's shows where it's a balance of both of us talking. Then there's shows where it's all right, let him go. Then there's shows are all right, let me go. And I think that's where people don't understand. Like you're not always going to be the person, the host. You're not always going to be the one to carry the conversation as far as on your side of the mic. Like you do have to let the guest talk, But the more people you have talking, as far as hosting, you have to understand that this might not be your show to get everything out. And you have people that fall out with the podcast because I didn't get to get that much talking in, or I didn't get to ask my question. Why didn't I get to do this? Why didn't I get to do that? But in reality, you might get it the next two shows, or you might get it on the seventh show. There's many conversations with my brother. If we do an hour, he might hold the topic of the conversation for 30, 45 minutes. But then there might be a show where I'm doing the same thing. But I think people don't understand it. That's why I asked you about the number of people as far as hosting the podcast, because people have to understand that it might not be your show. It might not be your topic tonight.
Well, I mean, you got to realize too, just because you host a podcast, don't mean you got to always talk. Because
Yeah.
when I first started this, what I would do is I would come on and I would say, "Welcome to the podcast playground, where the podcasters come to play," and then I would have, let's say we had three people, right? I would introduce, I would introduce you guys, and then I would say, "Okay, take it away," and then I would take myself out of the equation. Although I'm still here on the back end and I can see everything and control everything, I wasn't in the conversation.
Yeah.
It wasn't until I got a chat message, a text message saying, "Hey, how you got a show that you ain't in?"
That's a fair question. That's a fair question.
No, that's
Yeah,
that
it was just
oldest.
fair.
That's the
I
oldest. He
couldn't
ain't
be
no lead
mad.
singer.
Yeah, look, I thought I was Bobby Brown. I thought it was my prerogative. You know, I can do
Yeah.
what I want to do, but instead, they keep sweating me, talking about, "There you go, saying no again."
That's how it be.
There is
So,
no. I feel like if there's one piece of advice to give somebody, that's because at the end of the day, this is the new wave, right? This digital media, this digital content is the new wave, and these kids is running away with it. They running away with it,
Yeah.
and the bag is vast. You know what I'm saying? This is the new. This is not professional, and I think that's why it's so accessible, because this ain't got nothing to do with how athletic you are. This ain't got nothing to do with nothing tangible, really, other than what how you make people feel. You feel me? So I tell people a lot of times is whatever your weird thing is, be that, because you will find out that you are not a one of one. You're gonna find your crowd of weird ass people just like you.
and you ain't never lied. Let me tell you. Last year, I got invited to go to this cosplay thing to do to actually do the photography for it, and that's generally not my crowd. But I said, you know what? I'm gonna try a new venture. So we went there. I set up a photo booth, started taking pictures, and there I'm the weird one.
Right. That can happen.
Yeah,
A lot of
to
crazy
them
stuff
I'm
going on.
to them I'm the weird one because I'm not participating in their activities, but everybody around them is normal because that's what they do. I mean, they
Right.
plan for 5 months up to a year just to go to the thing. And I asked the one guy, I said, I don't know none of these people. I don't know none of these costumes or characters. And he was like, "And why are you even here?" I was like, "Money."
Right. Also a fair answer to the question.
I was like, "Money." He was like, "Well, you should probably know the characters if you want the money." I said, "No, you see that lady sitting in the chair? Watch this." I,
Right.
I didn't have to know who she was to take the picture.
Right.
You know, you have to go outside of your comfort zone if you want to do this, and you have to not care what what you think about yourself, because that was actually going there, seeing these grown people in costumes. That's not a that's see you laugh, you know what I mean. That's not in my environment, my daily dealings. That's not something that I was accustomed to. But then when I showed up, I mean, still, I ain't gonna do it because that's just not me. But these folks, they do it. They're doctors, they're lawyers. These are, they're not just like the wayward kids of the neighborhood who will rob you at midnight. These are actually PhDs, well educated people dressed in costumes.
Yeah, I mean, like, don't get twisted, cause we live in a weird world. We live in the eyes wide shut world. So again, whatever your thing is, as long as you're not hurting nobody, as long as you're not, taking aim at people in certain conditions, like that's for you to do. Um, like let's be real, it's an OnlyFans out there where somebody is watching somebody else's feet for 3 hours. To me, that's crazy. They paying to watch somebody else's feet. That is outrageous to me.
And
I am not
you're not
understanding of
alone.
it. You know what I'm saying? But am I mad at the person who's showing their feet? I'm more mad at the person paying to look at their feet. But again, that is what they are. This is a wide open space. I don't know if y'all paid attention. Um, I'm an old dude. I'm unk status. I don't have no problem being unk status. But I pay attention to these young folks, man. I watched that streamer university. I watched Cassidy streamer university, man. Cassidy is I don't know what to compare him to. I don't right now that young brother is a supernova and he ain't no slow leak. He getting he getting crazy deals. Like he has this shit in a chokehold and he's not gatekeeping it. If y'all are not familiar with Stream University, if you in Unk status or Auntie status, I'm gonna break it down for you. Cassinet is the equivalent of a fucking beetle. If you 50 years old, this 25, I think he in his mid to late 20s. He is Paul McCartney or John Lennon for this new wave of streaming and content creation. One of the most popular streamers in the history of that. He decided that he was going to take his platform and give it to low level streamers, like people that have 200 followers getting 17 views of video, 17 views of stream. He put them up, brought them all to a central location, like rented out a college, gave them dorm rooms. He brought in other popular streamers, high level streamers that's making hundreds of thousands of dollars a day, and he put them with these people that are doing 200 views on day 500 follower count. And he did it for 4 days. I watched this lady go from having 2,000, I said lady, this young woman, she's in her early 20s, just for being seen with Kai. She went from 2,000 YouTube followers to 40,000 YouTube followers while he was sitting there. So you play the numbers. If you're trying to get famous, if you're trying to get to the bag, if you can get to 10,000, cuz that probably means 500 people will spend any amount of money on anything you do. If you don't know,
You're not lying because
you know what I'm
I mean
saying?
that's what the internet's built on. The internet's built on uh who likes what and when they like it. So if you're doing this for a viral moment, you have to nobody knows what a viral moment is. You have to keep rolling the dice to get there. Like me, when I started this, I didn't start this for no viral moment. I didn't start this to get a bunch of followers. I just like, you know what? I'm producing 2 podcasts. I'm gonna bring them on the playground, and if I get some other people, I'm gonna bring them on the playground. And like you said, I'm just gonna do shows so people know. Look, out of all these multiple shows, these guys they've been doing it 4 years. These guys, they've been doing it 6 months. He's been doing it 2 months. He's been doing it a month. This is how he started. This is how they started. You got those who account watch, but like you were saying, don't realize just because the count's high, don't mean the content was great because they might have watched 2 seconds of it. When I first started looking into
Two
YouTube,
seconds.
the first video I seen was the guy said, "Look, don't make your videos more than 3 minutes long because people aren't going to watch beyond that 3 minutes when you just getting started."
And what's crazy is you got people. There was a lady, I can't remember her name. I don't remember nobody's name. This lady streamed for 3 years. She didn't turn her camera off for 3 years.
That's crazy.
There are no rules to this shit. Anybody trying to tell you the rules to this shit is telling you a lie. You do what you want to do, you do what you're comfortable doing, and you do it for whatever reasons mean something to you. It don't matter. If you supposed to be one of them people, if you supposed to be one of them super streamers, platinum level podcasters, that's what's gonna happen because you was true to yourself, not because of anything else.
Or you paid a bunch of followers,
That's what I'm
and
about
I
to get at.
see, and
Yep.
I'm like, one, I don't want to waste money on that because that's not my mo. Two, if you like it, you like it. If you don't, oh well. I mean, I painted cars for 8.5 years. I did custom cars. And I used to always tell my customers, bring me your car. I'll look at it, see what I can envision, and it will be one on one. I don't do
Hmm.
repeats. I don't do the same car for you and then turn around and paint the same car for your friend and he want to look like you. I can't do that. I never, in my 8.5 years of painting cars, I never painted a car the same color for two people because you have to be yourself. You can't be the next person. Well, I seen this on his dunk. Jay got a bad dunk, man. You seen that color on Jay dunk? I want to put that on my Regal. Well, you gonna have to find somebody else. I don't want to do
Right.
it.
Or just straight up, I can't do that. I mix that
I,
custom. I can't match it if I want to.
and see, I don't even tell them that lie. I just tell them straight up, I don't want to do it because that's the beauty of having other income besides that. So
For
I'd be
sure.
like, yeah, no, I'm good. You know, well, my boy, you did that ice blue on his Crown Vic. Can you get me close to that? No, I don't want to do it. But I had a waiting list from '93 all the way to 2014 when I quit painting.
Exclusivity.
Damn.
Exclusivity gonna win every time.
Damn.
And the fact that I wasn't willing to just paint because you can paint. Because one, you get those stereotypes where, okay, well, you got to be cheap because you're not in a shop, so you got to be cheap.
Yeah.
No, I ain't putting nothing in my paint gun that costs less than the paint gun, and the paint gun was $700.
Mm.
So if you want me just to clear it, that's $700. If you want me to come back and put a custom paint job, we starting at 25 and we going up to 7 grand.
And you can't tell me my price.
Yeah. My price is
Well, the
my
key is
price.
know your value.
So let me.
Right.
So that's one of the other issues I think people. But I tell people all the time, like we have guests and we bring back a lot of returning guests because we just get a lot of love for the authenticity of our show. Now we've never had a guest say, "I never come back." We've had every guest said they'll come back,
Most have been back.
uh, but a lot of times, yeah, most have been back only because they usually wait for me to invite them back. And I always tell people, man, we tell brother, there's an open chair. You can come anytime you want. But a lot of people just be like, well, shit, I was waiting on you, or shit, I ain't been back in about 2 months. Like, you can come back. But when it comes to guests, and some people think if you pay for a guest name, you will get those views. And that's the other thing I try to tell people. Like, you're not guaranteed to get those views for
for fame
whoever
chasing.
the guest is, because you still have to put
Yeah,
content out there. You still have to have content in that show. It has to be something. And I think that's another thing people don't
yeah,
understand.
because they're too busy fame chasing. And they figure
Yes.
if they can
Yes.
find something that's viral and then put their face on that viral thing, now they're going to be viral. And
Right.
it's all about fame chasing.
And these people, these famous people are using the crazy thing, they're using podcasters to market and brand, but charging the podcast for the marketing and branding. So, and I try to tell people that, and then they're looking at me like, it's the same thing. No, it's not the same thing. You're paying so and so to come on your show, but you're marketing them. They're not marketing you because if they don't share that they're on your show, they're not returning it. You're paying for them just to be on your show. And you're not guaranteed the same energy. Like, and you still
It
have to have content.
depends.
So we had
Oh,
one
go ahead.
guest.
Go ahead.
oh, We had one guest I reached out to. He was, or he's now a known singer, not a well known singer, but he's a known singer. And at this time, he had went viral a couple of years before this, and he came across my mind. I looked him up. I said, "Oh, he on a nice little run, but he's still, to me, he's low level. But he's probably not low level because local artists, they're usually big where they're from." So I reached out, and my response was, now mind you, we got a virtual podcast. They said, "Well, we'll come to you, but I need 2 rooms, 2 bottles of Hennessy, and I think like it was like 5 grand or something like that." And in my mind, I'm like, I said, "This is a virtual podcast, for one. For two, I said we just starting out because we were just starting out. For three, you're not doing a show. I'm not asking you to show your talent." So I didn't even respond. But it's stuff like that that I just be like, some of these celebrities, some of these guests are getting over on the podcaster, and the podcasters don't even know that you're probably gonna do the same number of views, and you don't even have to waste that money.
Well, they're going to do that same number of views anyway because unless you got a John Legend, a
Yeah.
Neil the Tyson DeGruccio, was the that
Neil
astronomer
deGrasse
guy.
Tyson.
Yeah,
Yeah.
unless you got somebody like that, and even that don't guarantee that people are going to tune in unless you pre-market. You'd have to pre-market that show at least 2 weeks to a month in advance to make sure that when that individual was on there, people are like, "Oh my God, did you see that? That's John Legend. He was on there with Jay.
Yeah.
He was on there with Carlos from the Dirty." What? But if you don't, you can get 2 views, you can get 20 views. It might go up to 600, but you do a short, you put a short out, all of a sudden you at 2K on short.
Yep.
It's like I just feel like that's something that you do after you get a sponsorship. You feel me? If you start out paying for your guests, then you gonna have to pay all your guests. You feel me? Um, Carlos Miller, we was talking about 85 South. He just went on a podcast run, and he went on with people that have a presence. You know what I'm saying? They have like strong podcasts, stronger. They not Joe Rogan. You feel me? But they also don't have 1,000 followers. They might be 25,000, 50,000 followers. Um, and he just started showing up on some of these podcasts, and I'm like, what the fuck? But because I messed with Carlos, what did I do? I watched him. But also, like, I'm a cool dude too, and I'm not paying you for a conversation. That's it. I'm the you had. We always end the show with, you know, they say money is the most valued commodity. It's not. It's time. So thank you for sharing your time with us. One, because again, you can't get time back, but because we doing what we doing, you live forever. As long as there's a way to access digital footage, your footprint is here forever till the end of technology. You feel me? So we just doing fair exchange. You know what I'm saying? I rather do it that way. Like I said, and we also say we don't know the extraordinary people we deal with. How many times you had the dopest conversation because you was waiting in line at the gas station because somebody was taking forever getting their fucking lottery tickets, and you just have a random conversation with somebody you think is a custodian, and little do you know they fly planes or they bungee jump or they teach ballet. You know what I'm saying? I think regular people are just as extraordinary as celebrities, and they can give you just as high a quality of content.
I would say you're right. I would say that uh, a guest can be anybody. A guest don't have to be somebody you paid. A guest don't have to be somebody you begged because up until 6 o'clock, I didn't even know you guys.
Right.
I watched you. Like I said, I watch y'all videos, but up until 6 o'clock, I didn't know you guys. And I was on with the Pastor Henry. I didn't know him. He was in Canada and he's from Nigeria. When I first started talking to him, our first meet, my internet stopped working. So
Been there
then
before.
I had to get on my phone and say, hey, look, how about we reschedule this so I can give you a fair show? And he was gracious. He said, okay, I understand. Thank you for keeping me in the loop. The next day, man, that show was so bomb. Normally I keep these to 30 minutes. We went an hour and then we did an hour after the show.
Okay. And that's how it be sometimes. It's if people meet you where you are in terms of the energy and they actually decide to give themselves to whatever it is that you are doing with your podcast, I think it's always gonna be like that. Like, like I said, I don't know nothing about horses, but we had the most entertaining multiple time guests. Derek Richard, he's a horse trainer, and I have no knowledge of that lane, but it was not entertaining. He taught me a bunch of shit about horses that I would not have otherwise known.
And that's like the showstopper right there because had you not took the time to one, listen to another perspective that you wouldn't even had. Because think about this. What was the chances in your normal life you're gonna be like, hey, let me go learn about a horse?
It's not for lack of. We from South Carolina. We've been knowing about trail rides for umpteen millions of years. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but now the
But
internet hit it, and now it's this new phenomenon. Now you got
okay,
people that ain't never wore cowboy boots trying to run to get some cowboy boots.
understand. You understand.
Who was? I guess I asked my brother, like, who was the most other than him? Like, who else had a story on our podcast that was like that? Because, like my brother said, like we've had tattoo artists, motorcycle enthusiasts, rappers, singers, multiple DJs. We've
Your
had so many
homeboy,
DJs.
Black John Wick.
Oh yeah, man, we had it. I actually went to school with this dude, but I graduated before him. I graduated 2 years before him, and he was a Marine, but he's a gun enthusiast. And I invited him to the show. And this was an early episode. And when he finally was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna do it," he was like, "I wanted to make sure, he made sure nobody was in the house. Like his wife and daughter, I think they went out of town, or it might have been a coincidence." So he had his drink, and we're talking before we go live. And when we go live, he's already on 10. Like his energy, like he got comfortable already. So that's another thing. Like we try to break the ice before we go live.
Omar
When
coming.
I tell you by the end
Oh,
of the bro, By the end of the show, close to it, he even said, uh, if somebody break in my house tonight, they in trouble. This man had like 6 guns on the table. This man done put on a vest. He cocked a pistol with the vest. He cocked a pistol with his foot. He was he was on another level, but he gave you insight on how to handle a gun, how to manage a gun. He
He
gave you
knew the
insight on other stuff.
guns, what you should
You could
look at.
actually, yeah,
Quality information. He was entertaining, but he also knew what the fuck he was talking about.
yeah. He and I told the story that we made it relatable. Like I told the story and he remembered exact like in high school. Like I said, he graduated behind me. He was the first black dude I seen with nunchucks. Just fucking around with some nunchucks to not. You gotta think this is shit, man. My brother said I don't want to show my age, but back then the only people seen with
It was
nunchucks is
me.
Asian people or
You know
Bruce
what the
Leroy.
ironic part is?
The
That was
Last
common
Dragon.
in my household.
Oh wow.
Stop trying to put black people in a box, cuz we be doing shit.
Hey, ironically, that was common in my household because my dad grew up in Russia, and
Well,
then he
now hold
Oh
came.
on.
wow.
No. I'm not gonna let that fly. We talk about nunchucks, and you said that's what happened because my dad grew up in Russia. Who is your
Well,
daddy, cuz?
my dad was in the his dad was military, and he was stationed over in Russia. And my dad and my aunties went over to Russia,
You
and
know what? I don't want to know no more. You done said Russia too many times. Y'all,
they,
let's
hey,
proceed.
they came back. My granddad believed that
I
young
don't
men
need none of the alphabet people coming to
should be
see us.
karate trained. So, my dad come back. He's karate. He got his black belt. Then he got into jiu-jitsu. Then he got into being a ninja. So then after he did that, he got into guns.
We need your daddy on the podcast.
Man, look, y'all ain't
Shit.
got
Yeah, that's
we
what
ain't
he
got enough
did.
time to have him on here because boy, them be some slow words. Yeah, I like guns. I
Oh
got
shit. Oh shit.
I got several guns.
That's all right, man.
So,
Stop shitting on people that you see every day. I see y'all just be spazzing out in your local subway and shit. There are people that are quality people that you are pissing off, or you don't know that they about to kick your ass. Everybody ain't no punk.
Your ass. Kick your ass.
it's the ones you don't expect. I'm
They
telling
don't
you, it's
about to
them
kick your
sleepers. Them sleepers will get you every
yeah.
time. But them sleepers, boy, they don't be playing. They be behind that counter
In
looking
a
at their
real
last
way.
check. And you
We've
say
had
that one thing wrong to them, they don't look at that last check, and they think they're like, fuck this place.
That part.
dude,
So
That part.
yeah. Hey, how
we
they say how
had
to how Blockbuster used to put
unex
it, be kind and rewind.
Be kind and rewind.
yeah. We had T.I.'s cousin on our first
Plug
cousin on
Chapman.
as a guest. He's a comedian. Plug Chapman, that dude is a funny dude. And it's crazy because he's a comedian and T.I. got into comedy like 2 years ago. We already had him on our show. Um, but that dude, he's a funny dude, and he actually helps teach comedy to other people, which is crazy. But he was Ti's. Remember Ti's sister that died on the show, passed away,
Yeah,
Precious or
that was
whatever.
his aunt. That was
It was her
yeah,
son.
that was
It's
his
her
real
son.
aunt. Shit.
Yeah, yeah. But I'm saying that's his mother. That's what I'm trying to say. That's his mother.
That's wild.
Yeah, but he's a funny individual. And we had this guy named Lawrence Owens. That dude is hysterically funny. We kind of got into the comedy realm for a while, and we hit that lane real hard. Remember, like man, we might have to get off it, but comedians know how to hold a conversation. So this new wave of comedy where they just have a conversation with the crowd. Like me and my brother excel when comedians come on the show. Like my brother said, we had um, talent. We actually had Talent Son on there also. So we probably had about 15 different comedians. And the crazy thing, I think
That was one of the
JJ
best
Williamson
ones.
was a funny comedian.
That,
That is one of the best
yeah.
shows we had, and that was an early episode. So he does the Dallas radio in the morning with
hmm
Dee in the morning. So he was in the Meet the Robinsons. He's been in some other stuff, but for him to say, "Yeah, I'll do your podcast and be on time," I think we had to restart that one because that one had bad audio. But being authentic for the whole show, man, that dude was authentic, man. But those are the type of guests that we love
And that's hard to
having.
do.
I'm trying to think of somebody who was also off the wall, and I can't really remember
It's
right
like,
now.
you trying to do this, man? This man said he gonna do an hour. You gonna?
Oh, well, fuck it, it's
Well,
over.
no, I mean,
Shit, I'm
hey,
about to
hey,
snatch this
like I
shit
was
out
saying
anyway.
before, when it's running, it's running well because chemistry is one thing you
Yeah,
can't teach or preach.
For sure, for
It's
sure.
like when I was trying to
yeah.
teach people how to paint cars. I can teach you how to paint cars. How well can you listen?
Right.
I mean, that's the bottom line to everything. But I got one question for you guys. So when you guys are going out there and deciding who you're gonna have on your show, are y'all just going up? You just cold talk. You just going up to them. These are people you already know, or these are people you say you reach out to and say, "Hey, look, I would like to invite you on our show."
This is my brother's question because that's his specialty.
So, like I said, we started with the people around us. So, what I did was I reached out to the people around us because it's crazy. So, this dude I went to high school with, me and him was real close. And I told his sister, before me and my brother did the show, I said, I'm going to start my own podcast because I was always posting drinking. And I'm going to have you as a guest. She was like, you should do it. And that's how I started. I wanted to have people that knew us to make it more comfortable to do the show. And then I created a invitation. So I said this is it's pretty long invitation, but it breaks down who we are. And I send it out through Facebook, through IG, through TikTok. Um, I had people come up to me and be like, "Hey, I seen your podcast. You thought about having this person?" Or I got a cousin, I got a sister, and then the network and the superpower is when we have a guest, they be like, "Hey man, you should check out my homeboy, or you should check out this, or you should check out this lady, or you should check out, you know, my my nephew or my niece." And that's how we started branching out and collecting
I mean
guests.
that
But that's a 24/7 thing though. That's what there is no cutoff when you send the invite that way. Because like my brother, like we said earlier, we do Cali, Detroit, New York, like everybody's on a different time zone. So, sometimes you don't get the response right away. So it's like, damn, I wonder if they got it. Damn, I wonder if they looked at it. Or you see them look at it and no response. Or through Facebook, we've had people reach out and be like, hey man, you sent this thing like 6 months ago. I don't even look through my
Yeah.
messenger. So I have a certain strategy, and I'll put my strategy out there. When it comes to social media, one of my brother, one of his friends, he told me that communication wise, Instagram works better than Facebook. Communication. People go on Facebook to watch shit. They go on Instagram to privately talk to people, so to say. So I reach out through Instagram, and I always get a response fast on Instagram than I do Facebook.
and see that's what people need to know because when I decide to have a guest on, generally it's I'll go in the groups on Facebook and I'll put the little link out there and say, hey, look, you want to be on the podcast? This is what the podcast is about. What would you like? Would you like to come on? And I've got 3 people from doing that. And then, like I was telling my other podcast who we do the pre-recordings for, I was telling them, I was like, hey, let's go do some live events. Get a table, get a chair, go post up live, and just do it live from somewhere. Because we have an art market here. Let's go post up at the art market, put a QR code on the table, and have people scan it, like it, and follow it.
Right.
I
Now
mean,
that's real smart. Shit.
any way is possible for you to raise your following via a free event where you just set up a table or a chair and you start doing your podcast because somebody gonna try to jump in it.
What y'all doing over here? What y'all doing with them cameras?
Yep. And all you gotta do is invite them to be on. You can come get this.
Sit your dumb ass down and
But
answer
you
these
know what?
questions.
Okay.
The, the other best way is you have to network with other podcasters. Because like my brother said, everybody got their own niche. So even like the cosplay thing, you might not rock with the cosplay, but if somebody who's into cosplay and has their own podcast, if you network with them and be on their show, they do like cosplay, but they might like something else that you're doing. And then they will bring other followers. So you have people that podcast be like, man, I don't rock with that person because this, I don't rock with that person because of that. But in this podcast world, like y'all the same person. You just like the local rapper. You need the other local rapper in your circle. And that's one thing me and my brother haven't dealt with when I say we do our city and our town is when it comes to local entertainment, there are people that don't rock with other people. But we tell people when you're on this platform, we don't give a fuck. We have no connection to
Right.
nobody. Um, just come on the show. And we've had people that don't rock with each other for whatever reason, but still end up on our podcast. Not at the same time,
Well, and
but
you
end
got to
up
think
doing the
too,
show.
when you're putting them on your podcast, you're not putting them on there because they don't mess with other people. You know,
No.
had I not gotten that email from the person over there at WasabiCon, had not got that email from her asking me did I want to come there and set up, I would have never experienced that.
You got to take chances. That's for sure.
So it's like okay, they do it wonderfully. I'm not gonna lie. I took one picture of one lady, and for almost 3 days straight, I had to turn off notifications because every time somebody seen that photo, they would click like, and I checked, it was at almost at 1,000 or 2,000 likes, and I was like, man, the constant ding, 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 ding,
It'll burn your phone up now.
yeah, and I was like, I was like, notifications off,
Right.
but I
Right.
would have never got that had I been closed minded and just say that's not my cup of tea.
Yeah.
I think we're gonna move on. We're gonna try to get some of these donks because they're supposed to have a bunch of a donk car show. I'm just gonna go out there and try to find somebody like that.
But see, and I think that's it's knowing the difference. It's gonna be a bunch of people out there covering them cars. You feel me? Learn sometimes you gotta do what you don't think. Just because it don't necessarily resonate with you at first, don't mean that that's not the right place for you to be. You feel me? Um, and then finding the story within the content that you're doing. You went to a car meet. You know what I'm saying? But within that car meet, you did get with somebody like yourself that does excellent, body work and excellent painting, and you get into their personal story. Staying at the surface is only gonna get you so far. But I mean, if there's anything for the people that are on the fence, you want to do it, you think you want to do it, you don't know if you'll be good at it, start with just recording yourself. Don't even post it. Get used to the
Yeah.
idea of seeing your face on your phone or on your TV. And sometimes that'll help you get over yourself. As a kid, self-esteem questionable. As an adult, ah man, come on, man, let's do this shit. I ain't got no worries. I'm able to stand behind the person that I am. I'm able to stand behind the opinions that I have, right, wrong, or indifferent. You know what I'm saying? I'm aging like I wanted to age. Not the angry black man, but that confident black man. You know what I'm saying? That don't really care how you see me. I would like you to like me, but I don't really care if you do, if you get my meaning.
Oh, I do, because I look, I live off the theory of I'm face value at 50 years old. I'm face value. I don't care about being liked because at the end of the day, I know that what I have is my family that's in my house. Some days they might like me, some days they might not. But in that aspect, guess what? I still don't care.
There you go. There you go.
Because I realized that down the road, which is what I didn't realize younger, down the road, you'll look back and you'll go, yeah, yeah, my dad was crazy as hell in his karate costume flipping off the top of the fucking house. We probably shouldn't
Kiss
have been playing
my
with.
Converse.
We probably shouldn't have been playing with them Chinese stars and throwing them at each other.
Oh man. Yeah,
But
man. Your life ain't shit if you ain't do questionable shit that would get you locked up in
r-
this time.
Yeah.
you're right. So it's like, I had to do that back then to get to where I'm at now. Had I not
Real
done
rap.
that, I couldn't be where I'm at now.
Real rap.
Do I think that I'm the shit?
Yeah.
No, because shit stinks.
Nah,
Hmm.
and that this is the other thing. Being humble. We all think that being humble is a great thing. And just like if you misunderstand me, I get it. But some people gonna feel me. We as black people, we love to downplay some shit. Now you got your floggers, you got your people that talk big about little shit. But when you're doing what you're doing, you have to leave room to pat yourself on the back. It's kind of like when you dating somebody. Don't nobody want to be with nobody that nobody wants. And sometimes you got to be your spokesperson. You got to be your own representative. So I stopped saying I got a little podcast. Just like you hear somebody try to play you, you still doing your little podcast. You got to stop saying it yourself. You know what I'm saying? I find value in what me and my brother do. So now I speak it proudly. Yeah, I got a podcast. You can catch it on YouTube. We got to fix the Facebook shit. We used to stream on Facebook. Um, but I got a podcast. It come on every Wednesday at 8:35 Eastern Standard Time. And I would like to tell you what we're talking about, but we don't really know till we say go. Um,
Till we say go.
it's gonna be authentic. If you want to come in and just be in the chat, you could do that. You could throw anything you want up there because we probably gonna talk about it. Unless you say something stupid. In which case, I might not call you stupid directly, but
I will.
again, that's just part of the game we play.
Yeah, I will. I'll be like, that's stupid.
At
That's
least spell 70% of your words right.
look. I look at
Yeah.
it like this. The lady at work told me. She said, you lack empathy. I said, no, I lack stupidity.
Hmm. Say
I
that.
said the person lacking sympathy is only sympathetic to the person who they refuse to tell the truth to.
Hmm.
I don't
I
have
need that
that.
on a t-shirt.
I don't have that because I do dumb shit all the time, and I know it's dumb because I got the right. I know how to tell right from wrong. So if I know I'm doing dumb shit, you should be able to tell when you doing dumb shit as well.
For sure,
And
for
if I
sure.
tell you about it, it ain't because I'm empathetic that I have no emotions. It's because you just doing dumb shit.
Right.
You just
Let
doing
me
dumb
stop
shit.
you right now from being dumb. Don't go nowhere else and be this dumb.
Yeah, let's
I'm
set the
trying to save
bar.
you right now.
Yeah, let's set the bar. Dumb is here, and you are right here above dumb. I need you to be below dumb. So, I hear that all the time because, like at my job is issues. I deal with issues every day. I deal with regular computer issues, and some of them simple as hell. A guy
Right.
sat there in front of his computer for 2 weeks with the monitor off.
Mm.
He said,
Damn.
"My monitor's not working." I walked over there and pushed the power button. So,
He should have been fired. Let's just be real, because you fixed
but
his
I mean that's
monitor,
common though.
but he should have
That's
been
that's
fired.
that's the downfall. That's common. Stuff like that is common. In my in
Yeah,
my
don't
nine
all
plus
those
years,
people should be fired.
in my 9 plus years, that's common. Then you take when I go and I do broadcast stuff for the job. You know, sometimes I tell we have headsets where I can talk to the people on the cameras, and I'm like, hey, zoom in. He's sweating.
Right. Right.
I don't put the person live, but I can see him on the screen, and he over there looking like he doing one of them. I like the remember the old dating show game from back in the day.
Oh
Homeboy with
yeah.
Lena,
Which
yeah,
one?
Love
Love
Connection.
Connections.
Homeboy with Lena harder than a Chevy with 13-inch rims on it and no hydraulics, but he was sweating like he was in an interrogation room.
Yeah.
So between doing IT stuff and doing broadcast stuff, like I said, I deal with issues every day, and this is from people who make millions of dollars, all the way down to people who live a regular standard life like myself. And it doesn't matter how much you make. I've learned no matter how much you make, whether you're at the high end or the low end, they all think alike.
For the most part, we all
They all
live
think alike.
a similar
Yeah.
existence.
Yep. Because the person at the high end still can't push the power button. The person at the low end still can't push the power button.
Yeah. You need both of them. That's
Oh
how I
yeah,
look
you
at
do,
it.
because the key is they're great at what they do, which is why they're where they're at.
Yep.
Because if they wasn't,
Yeah.
they wouldn't be there.
And the crazy thing is, like, the people up top have no idea what the people at the bottom are doing.
Nah, I think they do.
Even if they
I
started the
used to
company
think
or
they didn't. I think
no,
they
they
do.
don't. They don't. They what I'm saying is because most jobs evolve faster than what they used to in the past. Most, if you think about it, most jobs evolve real fast. The way they process stuff, the way they do stuff, a lot of that stuff they do, depending on how long they've been up top, is obsolete down at the bottom now.
Well, it's all about pushing AI technology.
That's where we
It's
at
all
now.
about pushing
Oh,
AI
definitely.
technology. It's all about the algorithm, which is once again, this ties back into the setting up your podcast and streaming. It all ties into the algorithm because we train Chat GPT is a great example. Chat GPT
Yeah.
is not smart, but what Chat GPT does best is it researches somebody else who asked the same question that somebody else done answered. So it's not that the computer is like, oh, this is your answer. Somebody else done answered the question which was asked already.
For
And
sure.
all it did was go get that
Mm.
answer, come back and give it to you.
Yeah, don't be thinking that shit the gospel. Chat GPT had your ass fucked up out here, boy.
Look,
But check but it will say it though. Chat
It
GPT
will
will
tell
say
you
it.
sometimes let you know.
You
Now look, this is what we
hey, put
heard.
a disclaimer
This
on
ain't
there.
what I know. This is what we heard.
Put
know?
that disclaimer out there. Please
Yeah.
drink responsibly.
Right. Right.
Yeah. It does do that. It does do
Well,
that.
fellas, I appreciate you guys for jumping on. Once again, thank you for joining me from the bottom of the bottle. Welcome, and I really appreciate it. We definitely gotta do this again because this was fun. This was definitely a
No
lot of fun.
problem.
So you guys are
No,
invited back
Yeah.
anytime you want. Uh, if you guys want to have me on your show, hit me up.
we
Let me
definitely gonna do
know.
that.
Let me know what times, what days, and we'll get together, and make it happen.
Yeah, we got to talk about your Russian ninja daddy because
Look,
everybody ain't got one of them. Cause
look, and the only thing he gonna say, because Grandpa was a Rolling Stone. I ain't gonna lie. Shit, I was looking on. See, this is how Facebook gets you to remember you got new family members you ain't even fucking know. I said happy birthday to a lady had the same last name as White. I didn't know the damn lady was my auntie.
mm,
She gonna say,
Damn.
"Oh, thank you, nephew," and I was like, "Yeah, I just like, oh, okay, okay. I don't know how I'm your nephew, but okay, okay." So then today, today I look on Facebook. She put a picture of my granddad on there,
mm.
and she said, uh, "It's been 32. It's been 23 years since you've been gone, Dad." I said, "God damn."
Never know who your
Wow.
family is. Well, I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm not accepting no new family. Cause if you ain't checked in by 2025, when our podcasts go up, cause don't try to show up talking about you, my aunties, other foster child, legitimate neighbors. I don't want to hear that shit, cause
Hey, I ain't gonna lie. I was gonna try that. I'm like, look, I remember when y'all was just like the cork, not the bottle.
Somebody gonna say that. Somebody
But
definitely gonna
somebody
say
gonna be mad as hell, cuz. But guess what? I read about it in the comments.
Yep. Hey, that's how you know they like you when you got that hater out there.
Hey, there's no other way. There's no other way to know.
No, there isn't. There is no other way to know. But let me see. I'm gonna ride this exit on out real quick. As well as always, thank you guys and thank everybody else for watching and joining the podcast playground. And as always, we out.